you're going to sign a waiver and they're going to try to get you to waive all your rights to personal injury.
You're not getting a lot of training. You've got a bunch of people who are here on vacation who don't really know how to operate a jet ski.
So pay attention, don't leave your kids in the car, don't leave your pets in the car.
Very few areas of the beach where there's going to be lifeguards watching the water.
They're causing the wake, and so the wake is where you can very easily get toppled over.
So they had a dual job. They were the chair sellers and they were also the lifeguards, which obviously it ended in a fatal accident.
The mental anguish that happens when the parachute comes down on you and you're fighting to get out of it. You think you're going to drown.
Thanks for watching the Carolina Justice Report today. I'm Rainey Romero with the lovely law firm. Today we're chatting about the 5 dangers in Myrtle Beach during tourist season. You don't want to miss it. Stay tuned. Thanks again for watching the Carolina Justice Report. Happy Tuesday. I'm here with attorneys Justin Lovely, Sarah Austin, and Sharday Crawford. How we doing, folks?
Doing good.
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Sharday always has a funny response. But so today we're talking about the top 5 dangers. Really, we could have made this like a top 20 dangers for Myrtle Beach tourist season. But we are gearing up into tourist season, so this is really good reminders for locals and people traveling. So our first one, I feel like, again, we'll probably have some more to add on to this, but the first one being beach safety, which is huge. Sharday, I'll let you start with beach safety.
I think one of the major things is when you're at the beach, you got to watch your kids.
Oh, yeah.
I think so many people, you're in family gatherings, you're here for vacation, and your kids are in the water, and you stop paying attention. And Myrtle Beach is notorious for actually like kids almost drowning. And what the police do here is they actually charge the parents. It happens so often, not just on the beach, but also in the pools. So when you're here, just pay attention. Make sure that your kids have like a buddy system, and that if your kids can swim, they need to be able to swim on their own.
Right.
That they know how to swim, that you're paying attention to them. I don't know.
And that rip current
Yeah.
can hit
Oh
like
my
that.
gosh.
Like so fast.
You know, and there's people always assume there's lifeguards there. There's very few areas of the beach where there's going to be lifeguards watching the water.
Well, and even if there are lifeguards, I mean, we're talking about, visually, you cannot find a spot to even lay your towel down half the time because there's just so many
There are
people
so
in
many.
one spot. I mean, that lifeguard, there's no way, even if you have a lifeguard, that they can get every little
I
thing.
don't even know if there always are lifeguards.
It just depends, yeah. Sometimes they're out there in different spots, but they're not everywhere on the beach.
And they're also understaffed. There's just a new lawsuit that just got approved and settled where they sued them for not watching people when they were supposed to.
It was a big verdict, and it was for the city of Myrtle Beach. I know because I sat at I was behind those lawyers in a hearing once. So I got all of the information. But the city of Myrtle Beach was actually having the lifeguards sell beach chairs because you'll see that you can rent all those beach chairs.
Instead of watching the beach.
And they did, so they had a dual job. They were the chair sellers and they were also the lifeguards, which obviously it ended in a fatal accident, right? Because the lifeguard wasn't paying attention, they were selling chairs. And I know that North Myrtle Beach had already done away with that practice. I remember when I was younger, actually, my mom, I lived in New Jersey for a while, where their lifeguards are like the police force, right? They're trained, they're everywhere, they've got all the equipment. Would come down to vacation in South Carolina and the lifeguards are selling chairs. And so I had to wear a big yellow life jacket. Meanwhile, I was in swimming lessons since like I was 2 because my mom was so terrified that something was going to happen to me and no one was going to be able to save me. And so we joke now how, the flotation devices for kids is so much better. Like they didn't have those cute little shirts that float.
Yeah.
You know, I was in my like boat life jacket trying to play Marco Polo with my new friends, but the lifeguards were selling beach chairs. So now they've done away with that practice in the city of Myrtle Beach because they just got popped on a verdict. So hopefully we'll see this summer lifeguards being lifeguards and chair sellers selling chairs as separate entities, which is how it is in the county where I live. We've got 2 different people doing it. So hopefully that makes it safer, but definitely don't just rely on lifeguards because
Right.
I mean, in the city of Myrtle Beach, it's going to be their first year doing it. So
Well, and another issue with that lawsuit is they were kids. being the lifeguards. They're like 17-year-old, 18-year-old kids.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you're a grown-ass man like me, he's not going to save me. We're taking us both down if he comes.
Yeah.
Or he's just not going to go out there because he's like, I'm not going to, fear's going to set in.
Yeah.
So significant problem. And you got to stay diligent, stay safe, watch your kids, watch yourself. Don't try to be the brave jackass that tries to swim 100 yards out into the water, because when you're coming back, that's when you start fighting the current.
Yeah.
You get tired fast.
Oh, yeah.
And people lose sight of you,
Yeah.
stay within the group of
Oh
people.
my gosh.
There's no reason to go float out there on your own. It's just.
The rip currents are a very serious, scary thing, because once you go past that little, the wake or whatever, I mean, you are down. I mean, I remember playing at the beach when I was a little bit younger, and you start off there, and all of a sudden 5 minutes later, you're way down, and you can't even find where you started.
Yep.
Then you try to get in, you're still getting pushed over while you're trying to get in.
Yeah.
And you're going under the pier, and the lifeguard's yelling at you to get out from under the pier. And it's scary because you feel like you're fighting against, then you get tired. So it's, it's very scary. And then also, I mean, and that's when you're allowed to swim in the ocean. A lot of times they have those safety flags to let you know the weather conditions of the beach. And when you should be out there, when you shouldn't be out there. And then also, I think it's crazy sometimes that people will go at night and get in the water too, when you can't see anything, I mean, so.
I stay below the knee.
Common
If
sense.
it gets above the knee, I'm taking a couple steps towards shore.
And pay
That's just
attention
me.
to those signs that say, because I've seen twice, don't swim so close to the fishing piers. So I've got a fishing pier near where I live, and I've seen 2 people come out of the water with fishing hooks in their foot. And it's like, there's a whole bunch of dangers near there, but if it says stay within 500 yards, you need to move.
All that structure too, because the piers got wiped out during the last hurricane, and they just leave them in there. They don't try to clean it up. They just build a new around it. And so when you get closer and closer, all that stuff is just all that debris in there.
Yeah.
Good for fishing, not good for the tourists getting in the water.
Right.
So there's a lot that goes into beach safety. Of course, staying hydrated and wearing sunscreen, all those things are important while you're on the beach as well. But we're going to move on to number 2 danger, which is traffic. I feel like this is another loaded one, because even people who live here year round complain about the traffic. So, Sarah or Justin.
I got to jump in. Sorry.
Okay.
I'm pulling Amy and cutting you off.
It's all you.
But think about it. We balloon up to 2 million people.
Yes.
Right. When normally we have like 300,000 in all Myrtle proper when you take everybody in, and then come into April, May, all through the summer, you got 2 million people squeezed on the same roads. They're all out of town. They don't know the roads.
Yeah.
They're coming down here to have fun in Myrtle Beach. They're coming down here to get here in a hurry. They're worrying about their kids screaming behind them. They're frustrated. They might have started drinking and went to a restaurant. It's a recipe for disaster. And unfortunately, wrecks happen. And so you got to understand that is going to happen. Keep distance, obey the traffic laws, don't drink and drive. Those are my safety tips. That's also the reason I think. And the roads are bad, right? Yeah. So it's just a recipe for disaster. Go ahead. What was your thought?
I was just going to say be patient, because there's going to be a lot of traffic for all the reasons Justin talked about. So, it's people cutting people off or thinking that, trying to beat, making that left turn, trying to beat the traffic that's coming. Just, you're on vacation, chill out.
Relax.
Know it's going to take a little bit of time. I think as locals, we all plan differently. During the summertime, my route is different. Everything I do is different, because we're just getting ready for the traffic. So come with that mindset that just expect it.
And if you're a local, give yourself more time. When you're coming from Conway to Myrtle Beach, give yourself more time.
You'll say the 501 parking lot. Be ready.
Yeah.
Well, and try to stay off of those crazy routes. Locals, they kind of know some different routes to take. So, 501, 544 is a nightmare in the summer. So being careful with that. And of course, there's road rage when you start getting into traffic like that, and there's the people that just get impatient, like what Sarah's saying. And then that's when really a lot of accidents can happen too, is when you start getting impatient and doing things you shouldn't be doing. And then also just being aware of there's a lot of construction going on right now in Myrtle Beach too. So just being aware of those things that are going on, those signs, traffic cones, personnel that are out there trying to work is all important as well, right? All right, number 3, heat and sun exposure. Justin, you got burnt this weekend. I'll let you start.
It's not even summer. And I was, when you're a big white Irish guy like me, and I don't like the sun. So, No, I was out on a playground or a field trip, not a playground, field trip out in Loris and did not put sunscreen on. And I was only out there an hour or two, but I was fried. I mean, you might be able to still see it, but I've been coating my face here, trying not to be as shiny as I usually am. But no, you gotta stay hydrated. You gotta put your sunscreen on. People always forget about it, but you can get significant burns, and burns that will require hospitalization. So stay on top of it. If you're not going to pack it, make sure whoever you're going with, your wife, your mother, make sure they pack the sunscreen.
And drink a lot of water.
Yes.
I always tell the story about how my first like time I moved to South Carolina, and I fainted on the first day of law school because there were all these heat advisories and I was drinking no water, and then I was the girl that fainted on the first day of law
Oh my
school.
gosh.
But if you're doing all these things, water parks, all the active stuff, even hanging out on the beach, it's really dangerous not to hydrate and pay attention. It's a lot hotter here than it is up north where people are coming from.
You have to worry about the heat strokes and heat exhaustion. I mean, that happens every year. Shardy, before we started rolling, you were reminding folks about leaving babies and pets in cars,
don't
right?
don't leave your kids in the car. I mean, it's so quick because when you're on your way to work, and sometimes you can forget that they're back there. You're stressed out and your mind's not on it. So pay attention. Don't leave your kids in the car. Don't leave your pets in the car. And I was going to say about sunstrokes. I remember when I was younger, I too don't like the outdoors. I know you guys wouldn't have ever thought that about me. But whenever we would go to the beach, they'd always say, they would know it was time to leave when I started fainting. They're like, oh, Mochi's passing out. We got to go home now. So, don't be like my parents and, wait until your kid passes out as the time that it's time to go home from the beach. Let's leave a little bit before then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think there's a common misconception, too, if you are swimming at the pool or something.
Yeah.
You're not hot because you're
Right.
swimming,
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden it creeps up on you if you haven't. You still have to drink water and sunscreen and all that good stuff, even if you're swimming at a pool, because that's when it gets you, because the sun reflects off the water and it gets you, before you know it. I feel like everybody gets that yearly burn at some point in the summer. There's some sort of yearly burn.
I think I sit on the beach and my family and I kind of joke about it because people will come up from out of town, and the rentals are normally Saturday to Saturday, and so it's like, oh, Saturday everyone's here, and then we come back on Sunday and everybody's that So it's like, and that has to ruin your vacation. The rest of the week red. So.
Oh yeah, that stuff hurts.
Yeah.
Really bad. And
Sunscreen
with children,
up on the first day.
yes,
For sure.
and you have to keep reapplying that sunscreen.
Yeah, you do.
You can't just put it on and think it's good for the day. I was watching something last year with the news. It's kind of unrelated, but it is related too, with the water hoses that you have at your house. Whenever you are filling up your pools or you're playing outside at your house, those water hoses that sit out in the heat get very, very, very hot. And there was this poor little baby who had horrible burns because the mom put on the hose to kind of spray the kid. They were outside, and it was just like scalding hot water that came out.
Yeah.
And that baby had to go to the hospital with just like skin falling off. It was so bad. So just making sure, things like that too, just making sure you let it run for a second, you test the temperature before you do it. I mean, there's a lot of things that happen in the summer that you don't, think of year round. So it's just making sure you're aware as the summer season comes.
And our fans who are watching this who vacation here from up north, they're not ready for that Myrtle Beach humidity, Myrtle Beach heat, and it'll hit you like a ton of bricks. So follow everybody's advice, get your sunscreen, stay hydrated. You have a chance, at least. Probably still going to get you.
Still going to get burned, but.
Yeah.
So moving on to the number 4 danger, which is crime. I feel like Myrtle Beach is obviously not as high of a crime area as some of the larger cities, but we do still have different crime. We've got the things listed here is theft, scams, and assaults. You guys would know more about that and what you see.
I just see a lot of theft, and it's just petty theft, right? People forget to lock their car doors.
Yeah.
And there's just people literally waiting to, I used to live in a condo community, and they would come and hit every car in the parking lot that was unlocked. And so you're on vacation, just remember you lock your door because that stuff's going on.
Don't leave anything valuable in your car. And the other thing too that people don't really think about, leaving your bag on the beach and going into the water and nobody's there. The beach, I hate to say it, is where a lot of like grifters are around at. they'll walk by, grab your purse real quick.
Oh, yeah,
So
that's
just
good
make sure you
reminder.
don't leave like any of your like high dollar or your personal items alone when you're on the beach.
And hotels too. Hotel rooms.
Yeah, the hotels are bad too.
Yeah.
Just a transitory at different times,
Yeah.
transitory town. One thing I would add is people are coming down here, they're trying to have fun. There's different areas where there's a lot of bars and restaurants, especially at Broadway. If you're there with your kids after like 10:30 when it starts to close down, get out of there because everybody's drinking, and then you can see some bar fights, things like that. We don't want to see anybody get assaulted, but those things unfortunately do happen when, being in the sun all day and alcohol doesn't mix when you've been hanging out at Broadway at the beach or down at the Marsh Walk, something like that.
It's really common sense things that could happen anywhere. We just want to use sense. Yes, you are in a family destination. There's a lot of other families there, but that doesn't mean that there aren't people kind of waiting for you to leave your things unattended.
Yeah.
And it's kind of not the same thing crime-wise, but people lose a lot of their stuff in the ocean too. So be careful to not wear expensive things into the ocean because all sorts of wedding rings and sunglasses and money, is found washed up. You've got people with the metal detectors out there because of all the stuff that people lose in the summer months. So
It's not a crime if I find your nice sunglasses later.
so yes, being aware of that too. The last thing is water sports, and we have a ton of water sport activities here in Myrtle Beach. I've been waiting very patiently for Sade to tell me her jet ski story. So tell me what happened.
Yeah, so
with you.
we went and rode jet skis where on the waterway where you get on at the swing bridge down in Socastee, and we went for my daughter's birthday a couple years ago. I don't know anything about jet skis. I did. They give you like a little tutorial before you get on, and me and my daughter are riding together, and we were in like a group. But, some of the guys that are in the group, they're like cutting donuts in there and, they're causing the wake. And so the wake is where you can very easily get toppled over. And so we were riding and someone was cutting a donut on the opposite side of us. It caused the wake to come, and me and my daughter end up flipping over on the jet ski. She hit her head on the handlebars when we went down. And she had been driving us. So her glasses, she wears glasses, her glasses go into the waterway. And so both of us are in the waterway. We had vests on, and both of us can swim, but there's a whole other level to being able to swim, but being in the middle of the waterway. And so what they don't tell you is in order to be able to get back on a jet ski and there's nothing around you to get pulled up, you are literally having to lift your body weight. It's hard when you have nothing else to hold on to and nothing's still.
And the
it's
extra
still
weight of the
waking.
water and everything.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. And so what ended up happening is that one of the individuals who was like our guide, he had to come get off of his jet ski, climb onto ours, and pull me up by my vest, me and my daughter up, and she's injured and can't see, onto it. And so like it was like a whole like experience for me. So think about if we had actually like been drinking. Like we wouldn't have been, and like I said, it's just scary because here I am, a person who can swim. So just be careful, even when you're doing something, right?
She got knocked unconscious, and
Exactly. And when she came up, when the jet ski rolls over, basically, and it's on like flipped over, she came up under it. So luckily she could swim, and she had enough sense to be able to swim from under the jet ski. But like from that, it's like I have like this like, okay, you want me to do a water activity?
And I think that's, that story perfectly sums up, you're not getting a lot of training. You've got a bunch of people who are here on vacation who don't really know how to operate a jet ski, and you've got everybody in a pack and people cutting each other off, and so it's just...
And the waterway's narrow already.
Be careful,
It is.
More,
make
more
sure you
boats
get-
on the water too.
Just
More
wear a
weight.
life jacket, for sure.
Well,
Number one tip.
You can get pushed to the edges
Yeah.
very easily too, and that's where there's tree limbs sticking out and all sorts of pokey things and wildlife and all those things are things to be careful of as well. Justin, I know that we've done a Carolina Justice report on parasailing too, and the waivers and all that stuff. You want to go over any of that?
Yeah, so that's a big industry here at the beach, right? You take a banana boat out there in the middle of the ocean, go around a couple minutes, take a jet ski out in the ocean, go parasailing. But those accidents still happen because they don't take care of their boat motor. We've had cases where the boat motor fails. Well, guess what? If you got a pull, you have to have friction to get the air to bring you up, and if you don't have that friction, it's a parachute. You're going straight down. And so we have cases where you're hitting the water at full speed, and it can break bones.
Yeah.
So
Yikes.
make sure it's not some fly-by-night company. It's a reputable company. Take a look at the motor before you go out. It's not some terrible-looking boat. I would not get on there. And don't pay the money. If somebody's trying to offer you a deal to go out on some crazy boat to go parasailing, don't do it. Same thing on these banana boat rentals. I mean, they'll go out there and bounce you around. You're going to sign a waiver, and they're going to try to get you to waive all your rights to personal injury. Okay, and that's something that we're going to have to overcome if you do get hurt out there. So just be aware of that. If it's choppy seas, they're still going to go out there. They're going to go full speed trying to get you money and let you take the ride. But don't get on there. Don't try to parasail if it's a small craft advisory or whatever the weather's going to be, because the wind can whip up quick. And it may not look bad, but when you're out there on a boat and it's going up and down, or you're getting towed behind with a banana boat, that's not going to be fun. It's not going to be a fun vacation when you fall off of that.
Yeah, no, that's scary. I remember when I did a parasailing, excursion one time, and as it was, because the boat goes and you kind of spend like half a second in the water before you start to float up out, and it was kind of pulling us under the water for that whole part, and it was just like you couldn't breathe. I mean, it was just like water, being gusted into your face.
And so what will happen if there's not enough pressure with the motor? So we've had cases like this. If there's not enough pressure to gun it to get you back up into the air, that's exactly what's happening.
Yeah.
Right. And then it's terrible. We've had cases too where it's just the mental anguish that happens when the parachute comes down on you and you're fighting to get out of it. You think you're going to drown, right? Mm-hmm. So they can be very bad and very dangerous.
Yeah, scary. Ooh.
So pay the money for the good boat.
Yeah, you pay money for this.
I have the same advice about the $20 helicopter ride. No shade to those people, but $20 helicopter ride is not enough to get on a helicopter. I see those helicopters going off, I'm just like, oh man.
It's just a matter of time, right? We've been very fortunate and lucky. I mean, you hear about the crashes in Hawaii, because there's a lot more helicopters going up there, but that's what happens, man. One thing and it's done, toast. It's just a matter of time. Knock on wood. I'm not getting on it, but they make big money during the tourist season.
Well, can you three think of anything else that people should know about dangers in Myrtle Beach for the tourist season?
No, this is a great place.
I think it's enough. Yeah, it's a great place.
We're excited for people to come. Just be safe on the beaches, look out for each other, and don't drink and drive, because that's one of the biggest dangers. People come down here, get drunk, and drive all over the place, hurting themselves, hurting other people. And so have a good time, but responsibly.
Just use common sense.
And if you're hurt by any of these dangers, reach out to us. Let's give you a free consultation. We'll talk to you, let you know if it's something compensable we can help you with. Because that's what happens. A lot of people come down here and they're hurt on vacation, right? And then they leave and they go home and they realize, wow, I'm really hurt. I got to go see an ortho. Well, you need a local lawyer. The lovely law firm's here to help you.
Good job, Justin.
There you go.
Put that in there. All right, folks, we would love to hear from you, even just to know what you thought, if you agree with these, if there's ones that we missed. You can visit us online at justiceslovely.com, and we are everywhere that you consume your social media: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and TikTok. Justin's got some good TikToks up there if you want to go see that.
I do.
Thank you guys so much for watching the Carolina Justice Report today. We'll see you next Tuesday.